In a nondescript shed in an undisclosed location, potentially under the watchful eye of intelligence agencies, three lifelong friends bring to you a podcast of epic proportions. The world will never be the same. This is the Shed Sessions.
Hello and welcome once again to the Shed Sessions, the podcast that is living in a powder keg and giving off sparks.
Uh-oh.
Yikes.
I'm Jesse, and since you should never go into the shed alone, once again, here with me is Nate and Treadwell. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey. All right.
I freaking missed you guys.
I know, right?
Feels like it's been forever.
Yeah. Well, not even the cold could keep us away from each other tonight. It's pretty freezing out. What's it like, negative?
-4 on the way out here.
-4. Man.
It's a long trudge to the shed.
And that's not like considering the wind and stuff, which when the wind comes through, it's just so.
Which I've still yet to understand why they can't just have one temperature.
No.
It's beyond me.
Wind chill feels like.
Feels like, right. What's feels like mean?
What about
Yeah.
real feel?
Right.
Real feel, yeah. In the heat, it's called the heat index, I think, or something where they add like a certain amount of heat to it.
Why?
I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Stupid.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Get down to the
Yeah,
bottom.
call
of
somebody.
It. Yeah, let's call somebody. So let's get right into it. This episode, we are going to be talking about. This will be maybe more interesting to hunters. Do you guys hunt?
I don't hunt.
No.
I don't anymore. I did
Yeah.
when I was younger.
Yeah, you
did a lot of
before?
hunting with my dad.
Cool. Like what type of stuff?
Deer hunting, rabbit
Yeah.
hunting, bird hunting.
Nice.
You know
Quite a
that
bit of it.
actually over 80% of all hunters are deer hunters.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, more of a big game.
Yeah.
It's easily obtainable for people. You know, deer are out in the wild pretty often, and it's not like you have to go kill a mountain goat or something, you know. So.
Right.
Which might be hard if you don't have any mountains around.
Right. I mean, just, changes your odds quite a bit of shooting a mountain goat.
It does.
All right, so, but here in Maine, we do have a lot of a deer population, and we were talking about something that's affecting a lot of the deer right now, all over the world pretty much. It's called CWD.
Yes, chronic wasting disease.
Yeah, so what's that?
Exactly. It's a TSE. It's a transmissible
Spongiform encephalopathy.
There we go.
Nice.
That's the word.
Yeah.
It's nasty stuff. Doesn't it just sound nasty? Chronic wasting disease.
Yeah.
That just sounds like...
Yeah.
Oh, you're in trouble.
They also call it like a zombie deer disease pretty much because it gives them the look of being a zombie pretty much. Yeah. They shuffle around with their head down. They grind their teeth. They moan.
Glossy eyes.
Yeah.
They can be aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive when they normally would never.
Very
be.
lethargic too.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah, I guess they can tell sometimes, obviously by looking at them because they lose a lot of weight.
Right.
And they start wasting
Well, it
away.
It takes a while to get to that point though. Like, and they're going crazy.
2 years.
Yeah, but in the meantime, their holes are forming in their brain. Like, that's why they're called spongiform, because it literally looks like a sponge. And like, I think we're damn lucky that it's not like affecting mountain lions or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what if these things it's just affecting herbivores at this point.
Right.
So what if it affects something like a mountain lion? We're in trouble.
And it's not transmittable like that to humans either. So you're not
Not
right now
yet.
in danger
So they say.
of eating
Not
it.
yet.
If you were to kill one and it was set in there, but but they're not sure.
But would you eat it?
No, absolutely not.
No.
And that's why most of these hunters hunt is for the meat.
For eating it, yeah, exactly. A lot of gaming, especially in Maine that I know of, is really to feed people.
Right, absolutely.
They really depend on it for a lot of people will fill their freezers with it and really depend on it for the
That's
year,
all they
you
eat.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Other than their vegetables that they grow in their garden.
It's a huge business. Huge business.
Huge
Yeah.
business.
$21 billion annually spent on hunting in the United States.
Wow.
Well, and the first case of chronic wasting disease was actually in 1967, and it was found in a deer farm in northern Colorado.
Yeah, that's what it looks like that's where it started, is like this side of the Rockies, like Colorado, Wyoming, back like they think like they found it in 67, but they think like early
goes way
1900s
back.
when they were mingling with the giant sheep herds that were grazing out there.
Yeah.
Right, because it's also a form of scrapie.
Yeah, it's
is
related
another
to
form.
scrapie, however you say it. Yeah.
Which is the sheep form
Yeah.
of...
Right, and the BSE is mad cow.
Right.
Which is can be passed on to people. So,
Yes.
Right.
I mean, if other things like this,
Right, and
you know,
rabies
start
is
to
also in the
become-
same
right,
family, which can be
right.
passed on to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and it's really messed up, like, even with mad cow disease, how the cows came to get it
yeah,
from them rendering down all their fat
Eating
and bone
themselves,
and everything.
making them cannibalize
Right,
themselves.
and
Yeah.
feeding it back to the cows
Right.
after they dehydrate it and take all the bad stuff off the
Awful.
top.
yeah.
It turns into like a bone meal, blood meal type thing.
Right.
Another thing that could be interesting if, misused by the evil scientists of the world is isolating the spiroplasma, they call it, which is the part of the, the main part of it that's affecting it. And if they isolated that and they started using it, against people somehow or something, then that would be, a zombie outbreak.
Right.
Because,
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
Everybody's waiting for it, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, what's the next zombie outbreak? Everybody thought it was the bath salts in Florida. It could easily be CWD.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, in my eyes, it's just a matter of time before it jumps from
Right. If
from deer to human.
rabies is transmissible to humans, mad cow is transmissible to humans. It's just a matter of time that this is transmissible to
Absolutely.
humans.
And it's not only in deer; it's in the deer family.
Right,
So
elk, moose, right.
everything.
Cervids,
Reindeer.
I learned was the name of
Yeah,
the
I learned that too.
of that family of animals. Yeah.
Ungulates.
What is that?
I don't know if
Any-
they
is-
actually
no.
if they actually are
Yeah.
ungulates, but I like the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
And so the disease can like actually lay dormant in the soil
Yes.
for decades.
Decades.
Yeah, so you like 20 years later, you got a deer coming by
Yeah.
grazing where a deer had died, and
Well, it comes from a prion, and prions are what? It's a
Toyota,
No.
Toyota Prion.
right?
Right. My
Prions
grandmother
are what?
drives one. It's a protein.
Huh.
And that's what it comes from. And these prions stay in everything. They can actually get into the plants and grow into the plant, so it actually
Become
becomes the
part of
plant.
it. Yeah.
So, and it stays there and waits for decades
Uh-huh.
until something happens to come along and eat the plant. Something that it's transmissible to.
Well, we're lucky, I guess, that we haven't had a lot of these central nervous system attacks of a large outbreak, in humans because of like the way we eat animals and things like that, all that
and
stuff.
We have a lot of vaccinations for stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
we don't
And
get
they-
stuff like
Yeah, and that's why they started filling foods with so many antibiotics and
Yeah.
stuff,
Right.
Because they didn't want to kill anybody by the time the meat got to, across.
No, they knew the
country.
meat was so bad that
Like
they had to find a way to preserve it.
Yeah, this meat's not going to make it. Yeah. And it's like affected worldwide now too. They are seeing it in different parts of the world, but not Maine, right?
No, not Maine, but they did just find last year. They found a case in a deer farm in Quebec, and that's where it seems to be really prevalent. Is the herds in these deer farms, and
There's just so many of them.
yeah, I didn't realize how many deer farms there were.
Thousands
Over 4,000 white-tailed deer farms in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just whitetail.
Right,
That's
and-
not, mule deer.
Right, whitetail I
reindeer.
guess tends to be the most lucrative because they
get the biggest.
Yeah, they get the really big fast. Their meat goes for a lot. Their hides are decent, and they have antler. But have you seen like the pictures of those like crazy
Genetically
antlered genetic deer that have like
Well, they're
60 tines on their
they're
head.
pumping them full of proteins.
Yeah,
and
and
everything,
they're
so they just beef right
selectively
up.
breeding them, and
It's kind of disgusting.
yeah,
actually.
it is. Like, and they're using it for like knife handles and stuff like that.
Oh, they're
like,
making big dollars off it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
People are paying big money
They
to
get
go
$23
shoot these
a
things.
pound for a whitetail antler.
Wasn't enough. They, you know.
That's what I found like bulk online, and it was about $23 a pound was the average for whitetail.
They did that with the elephants pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they do with the mammoth tusks.
Poor
The
elephant,
mammoth,
the saddest elephant in the world, just died today or yesterday in Spain. Yeah.
Well, do you be sad about it or do you be happy? Because now he's not sad anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
They gotta stop capturing these animals, especially the elephants, man. Leave the elephants alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They talk about elephants having complex emotions and societies and stuff.
This one was depressed for its entire life because it got taken at the age of 3, and they said it showed signs of discontent and was put in solitary confinement, and it showed signs of discontent its entire life, 43 years in confinement.
Yeah.
And it missed its family, and
absolutely
never stopped thinking about it.
I mean, they normally live to be 100 years old, and this one lived to be 48.
Yeah.
Sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love elephants. Dumbo is one of my favorite.
Yeah. They got a live action Dumbo coming out soon.
Is that right? They're doing a lot of
How'd
live
they get that
action.
elephant to fly?
That was a crow feather. Elephant fly. All right.
Dumbo.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Kuru is a TSE, which is a human form of it.
Uh-huh.
And they had a real big outbreak of it in Papua New Guinea.
Where the cannibals
were.
Yeah,
because they would, when somebody died, they ate them as for respect.
Part of
it was a respect thing.
ritual, things
no
like
thanks.
that.
I don't respect you guys enough to eat you.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna eat you.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I was saving you a spot.
But after they found it that it was there, it took 40 years to burn out. After they realized that they were getting Kuru from this, it took 40 years.
That makes you like just go insane too, right?
Yeah, it drives you nuts.
Well, it sounds like the setup.
So don't eat each other
for a horror movie. Being stuck out in a tribe full of people, infected with Kuru.
Cannibals infected with Kuru. Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
That's a weird part of the world, the Papua New Guinea area.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of deep jungle, Borneo, like a lot of stuff that we haven't seen yet. Back in
hidden temples
Yeah.
down there
yeah.
and stuff that
Just
you can't.
overgrown.
Yeah, it's all overgrown. People still find them, but people don't really go there. Really,
Yeah, well,
it's not,
you end up
you
ate.
end up
Right.
killed by something. Yeah,
Or dead.
There's a
Bit
couple.
by a
There's an island
snake
off
or-
of India. I forget the name of it. That they literally you're not allowed to go to it because they'll just kill you.
Well, there was actually somebody not too long ago that had to land on there for an emergency, and they killed him.
And they ate him.
They ate him.
They ate him too.
Yeah, and they're like,
not only did they kill him, they ate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like somebody videotaped some some of it. I've seen video of it. It's
Yeah, you can see the guys coming out of the woods.
Yeah,
and
like,
it's
yelling
pretty
at the boats and firing arrows and
They love foreign food.
yeah.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yeah, they got a hankering.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. All right, guys. So unless you got anything else on these deer,
Just be careful. Don't eat the stuff, guys.
Yeah.
If it looks like it's infected, it's probably infected.
Yeah.
and you can tell it's gonna look sick. So
And
definitely don't take any chances.
It's big in the plains area.
Right,
Wyoming,
Colorado, Wyoming.
out
Yeah.
that
It's
way.
in almost every county in Wyoming.
Yes, it is, and a lot of it comes from them moving deer back and forth from these farms,
Or
Right.
releasing them for hunts.
or even you figure all these deer in this field and they're going to the bathroom,
right.
and all those prions stay in that.
Right. It's
Deer
in
poop
it's in
forever.
poop, it's in pee, it's in blood, it's
Right.
in saliva.
And then the farmer comes and cuts down this field, rolls up all the hay,
Mm-hmm.
and then ships it who knows where.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is how this disease is getting spread from
Yeah. How do you even fix
from
that?
the
You
United
gotta
States
Well, I
to
know,
all over the
there's
world.
a bunch of laws in place.
Yeah.
That now, don't move your kills, stuff like that.
Yes. They're definitely passing a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But people still do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of places like landfills and stuff that won't take the carcasses because they're afraid of contamination.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that they can do is they can line their landfills with clay, and because the prions will stay in the clay and they actually adhere to it and they won't go anyplace else.
Doesn't go back into the ground.
Doesn't go back into the ground.
That's cool.
So that's one way they can combat it.
Taking steps.
Yeah. I mean, at least they're
It's
working
baby
on
steps, just like anything.
Yeah. Babies gotta take little steps too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I wanted to mention something else to you guys. I had a question actually. Have you guys ever boycotted anything?
Boycotted anything? I have, yes.
You have.
I have. I had a pretty major boycott one time. A dental establishment. I had some work done that I didn't get finished, and they told me they had a rather large check for me. And then I went to pick it up, and it had shrunk significantly. So I contacted some people and tried to, and basically just got told too bad. They had taken the money from the insurance company, and I wasn't gonna see anything. So I went up the ladder as high as I could. Eventually, they had to listen to me because I stood outside of their establishment and told everybody going in exactly what they did to me, and that they were gonna get lied to, and not to go any further if they didn't want to be lied to.
What was your exact chant, not saying the name of the business?
Aspen Dental will lie to you. I'll say their name. I don't care. They screwed me over.
It was quite effective.
Yeah, I got my money.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Wow.
After about 2 hours, actually, I got a call from it's some bigwig, and they said, the check's on its way.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's awesome. So boycotting actually works.
It worked for me.
I mean, sometimes in the way...
I don't know if that's necessarily an exact boycott.
No. But you took action against feeling an injustice had been done to you.
Yeah, I mean, it went from like $800 to like $25.
Yeah, that's quite a difference.
And I was broke, and he wanted their money.
Hey, $800 is a lot of money.
I once won a boycott too. I kept a video from Blockbuster, and I said I am not returning this to pay this huge late fee, and now they're closed.
Nice.
So you never had to pay it?
Yeah, I didn't have to pay it. So.
Yeah, did you ever think video stores would be closed when you were a kid and you were going up down the aisles?
I thought it was such a cool, magical place when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I
to go there and
love
visit
the video store. You could get anything. You could go anywhere.
And kids nowadays will never experience that.
Right. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same browsing Netflix.
No, not at all.
It's not, but there is a nice certain charm to Netflix sometimes with some of the stuff that comes on there, but definitely not the same that you get from walking around the video.
The way they're going with virtual reality.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll be able to, before you know it, you'll be able to be right in the movie.
Right.
I don't want to be in some of them.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Well.
But that's another discussion.
Exactly. So, we were bringing up boycotts because we were looking up stories about, interesting things, and up came the name Charles Boycott, which I was not familiar with before. Charles.
No, neither was I. Old Chucky.
Chuck Boycott. Chuck Boycott was a landowner back in the 1800s sometime in England.
He was actually a land agent.
Land agent, okay, yeah. So he was the representative of the landowner?
Yes, he was the guy that collected the rent, made out the evictions,
right.
stuff like that.
Yeah. He was a nasty dude.
And he was a nasty dude. Most of his evictions ended in violence.
Violence, yeah. People.
Most of my evictions ended in violence.
I could attest to that. Yeah, I was there a few times. So, but the people in his town where he was the agent of got sick of all of his shit because he was such an asshole that
A downright dick.
Yeah, yeah. And he was pretty cruel to people. And anyway, the town ended up turning on him.
Yes.
And they pretty much iced him out. They made him a ghost in the town.
Yeah, they completely ignored him.
They call it a campaign of isolation.
Man, they completely ignored you. They cut off his mail.
Yeah.
They cut off everything.
Anytime someone tried to deliver something to his house, like the mail messenger boy, they beat him up and they said, "Don't deliver mail to Chuck Boycott anymore, or you're gonna get a beating." And so, like, everyone in town who tried to associate with Charles Boycott would end up getting threatening of beatings.
Right.
So the message was pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean,
and that they were not a fan of it. And he ended up writing a letter to the newspaper complaining about all these things, saying pretty much the only thing I can do is move out of the country because
and it made it worse.
Yeah.
It didn't do any good. It made it a lot worse.
It just fired things up, and of course he just looked like a whiny baby. You know, it's like you reap what you sow. You know, you're a jerk.
If you're a big enough dick that a whole town ignores you.
Yeah, and it was said that he was more afraid of the silence than the violence.
Yeah.
You know, he was more afraid of being shunned and not talked to than actually being beat to death or whatever else.
I think it would make a good movie, kind of like maybe with Ricky.
And it just totally drives the guy crazy.
Ricky Gervais in it or something. Yeah, he could easily be a hated guy.
Yeah, that'd be.
So
scary.
anyway, from all this came the term boycott, which his name actually became a verb now, so that boycott means to rise up against an asshole or something.
I actually looked into a few other boycotts that had happened throughout the ages, and some recent ones was China boycotted the U.S. in 1904 to 1906. They didn't accept any goods or whatever, any business. In 1933, Nazi Germany boycotted German Jews because they wanted to obviously
take their stuff
and do horrible things to them.
Right.
There was in 1998. There was actually the American gun owners boycotted Colt and Smith & Wesson because of Bill Clinton's gun control bill.
Wow.
Did any of them work?
Not really.
No.
I mean, obviously, anytime you get a bunch of people to boycott, your money's going to go down. Your finances.
Right.
So I guess in a sense, yes.
Yeah.
You know.
And boycotts are very effective now on Twitter and things like that.
Very.
You make something wrong in a movie, or you do something
or you do
wrong with your
or
product,
you say something,
or anything.
You get your advertisers get boycotted. Everything. Yeah.
So
say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You can start a Twitter campaign for anything and shut something down pretty effectively now. Right?
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
It turns out you cannot start a GoFundMe account for anything. I tried to start a GoFundMe account for a certain business venture, and they said I'm no longer allowed on GoFundMe ever again. So
Ever.
Yeah.
Please do not try again.
Leave our website now.
I think maybe their ideas of what are,
what's kosher,
what's
not.
a kosher business that you can open up on the internet is subjective.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess.
got to be completely legit.
Right. Where's the unlegitimate GoFundMe?
There's got to be one.
Where's the dark web
Yeah.
GoFundMe?
Like the hush hush fund me.
How'd you like to be a verb?
Happen to Chuck.
It'd be scary.
I actually looked into a couple of people that had become verbs, and it was Franz Anton Mesmer, and he was basically he was a hypnotist before there was hypnotists, and so that's where we get mesmerized. So
Makes sense.
I thought that was kind of cool, and obviously Louis Pasteur.
Yeah.
In the pasteurized, he's a big deal.
Little Louis.
Yeah, Big Louis, Little Louis. I forget what he goes by.
Yeah, that's true.
And when I was a kid, you could buttoner something. If you really screwed up when you were playing ball or something, you buttonered it.
Yeah.
But that was a couple that I found.
Yeah.
We always used to have them as kids too. I mean, you know, you'd say like, "Oh crap, you Nate Frace that," or "Damn, you Ryan Treadwell that," you know, something weird like that.
Well, that's pretty cool. Is that a term? Is there? What is that? Is there
verbing?
Oh, mesmerism. Yeah.
Mesmerism.
Yeah. There's before they really called it hypnosis, or they called it mesmerism, it was the transfer of energy between the mesmerist and a client to produce a trance, which it was basically just a forerunner of hypnosis.
Of hypnosis.
And he was German, and what was Freud? He was Austrian? Like they were doing some weird stuff with people's minds over there.
I don't think I'd be down.
Yeah,
Pavlov's law.
Yeah.
I don't know what that law says, but
I know it's out there.
Pavlov taught dogs to salivate when they heard a bell. Every time they ate, he would ring a bell, and so that eventually when he rang the bell, they would start to expect food. So he was practicing conditioning. Yeah.
I salivate when I hear a bell.
You do?
I do. Always have. Maybe I'm one of Pavlov's dogs.
How long have you worked with Pavlov?
It actually... This brought me to a weird spot too. That's something that I noticed when I was looking at verbs and nouns, and it was proprietary eponyms. Like, and that it means like, you know how you say, "I need a Band-Aid." Like, it's actually you need a bandage. A Band-Aid is just a brand. But we've named these things have become so commonplace. You Xerox something.
Yeah. Right.
Or I need a Kleenex or a Q-tip. Those are all brands, but they've become nouns.
The standard.
Yeah. Right. And it's you've reached a pretty high plateau if you're one of these things.
For sure. What are some of the other ones?
Even some other ones that I didn't realize were these proprietary eponyms. Escalator is actually a brand name.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah. So is heroin.
Wow.
That's what it said.
It's a brand name, huh?
A brand
it was a brand. It was like a medicine. It was like a brand of drug.
Well, way back in the day.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And now they use. That was only one of the concoctions that they made with the poppy.
Laudanum, is that what it is?
Yeah, that was another one.
Right.
Laudanum was a big one in the Old West.
Right.
Used a lot of laudanum.
Milk of the poppy.
Yeah.
Milk of the poppy, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nightline.
Yeah. So like Q-tips, Kleenex.
Cheerios, shredded wheat is one. Like everything is shredded wheat, but that's just
Tylenol. Jacuzzi.
Yeah, jacuzzi is another one. Yeah, there were actually there was a lot of them. There was a big list. Yeah,
no doubt.
Jeep.
Yeah. You know what I had a thought one time is almost everyone owns WD-40, but I've never seen a single advertisement for it. I've never seen a commercial for it. I've never seen it in an
I haven't seen a modern day commercial for it.
Yeah.
I've seen older commercials.
I was thinking I saw one, but that's actually I think that might be a Crazy Glue commercial.
Yeah, more like a Crazy Glue.
Yeah, with the guy with the hat glued to the ceiling and he's hanging there.
Good one.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. All right, so with that, I think we'll switch over to a few jellyfish stories that we had. We were only talking about this kind of because we both at the same day came up with these jellyfish stories at the same time. So we I was thinking of one that I just heard earlier before you mentioned it. So let's.
What do you got?
Fire away.
I'm ready to talk about my jellyfish. I can talk.
Mine's the weirdest jellyfish I've ever heard of.
Oh, really? Wait till you hear about this jellyfish.
Well, the beautiful thing we call the internet
it
showed me again that there are wonderful things out there that we have yet to discover.
Great and wonderful.
And there's a comb jellyfish that has what's known as a transient anus.
Wow.
Yeah, it disappears when it doesn't need it. It just kind of...
It floats through its skin.
Yeah, it just pushes it through its epidermis wherever it needs to.
Yeah, almost sounds like some kind of insult to a homeless person.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so... It's so weird that creatures in the ocean can be so bizarre, like so alien.
Oh,
like if you don't think aliens exist, look in the ocean.
Yeah,
at a
exactly.
jellyfish
And the deep-
be like,
Absolutely.
The
the
deep
deep
ocean.
where it gets so weird.
No
like,
light
down
hits
there.
it,
Yeah.
so the only thing you can have is blind fish that just randomly swim
Yet
around.
you have all these crazy colors
Yes,
and
exactly.
and bioluminescence and
Yeah.
and
They really have
different
their
ways of
own
communicating.
universe
Yeah,
down there.
it really is.
strange.
and attracting their prey, you know, like they
Uh-huh.
have, what is it, the angler?
Anglerfish, yeah.
With the little ball on top of its head.
Oh yeah, that type of stuff is like.
And they're scary, man.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Big old teeth.
Like imagine
nasty.
if you were to see something like that on land, you'd run from it.
Yeah, there's some nasty big old sharks that deep too.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some weird looking flat sharks
They
down
were,
there.
they were one time starting to question if there were megalodons
Megalodons.
down
Yeah.
there, but I guess they recently confirmed that there's probably not. But like down there by the, what's that called? The
Marianas Trench.
Marianas Trench, yeah, they thought that it's possible for lots of maybe ancient creatures that we thought were gone or down in there.
I mean, that's down there, right?
Yeah.
Isn't
Well,
that
I
like
mean,
isn't that like 30,000 feet?
Yeah,
right?
something like
right?
that.
You
It's
can
pretty-
fit Everest in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we know
35,000.
know
maybe.
more about other planets than we do our own ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh yeah.
70% water. You know, the Earth.
Yeah, I mean, there's a giant mountain range bigger than anything on Earth.
Which
Like,
makes it
bigger
kind-
than the Alps, bigger than the Himalayas. You know, like running underneath the Atlantic Ocean.
Which makes
you
it
know?
kind of weird that we're the biggest thing on land. You know, like how come we didn't evolve in the water instead of in the land?
Right.
On the land, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I guess mammals were
Shit's
equipped to be
easier on
smarter.
the land.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You ever try to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the waves?
Yeah.
Can't say that I haven't.
Having shark attacks be so real on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, not only shark attacks too, but like you're gonna have like curious seals biting
Uh-huh.
on you and
Getting
Yeah.
stung by jellyfish.
right,
yeah, assaulted by a porpoise or something.
right. Those squids have
Who do you
nasty
report that to?
beaks too.
Well, the jellyfish I was looking up was called the Immortal Jellyfish. And it's called immortal for a reason, because it is actually has the ability to live forever. They don't all do it, but it reverts it gets to sexual maturity, you know, and it does its thing or whatever. But then it's able to actually revert to its immature state, back to when it was young.
Huh.
And then it grows again, and then it repeats the process. It can do it indefinitely.
So-
A lot of times they don't survive the process. Like there'll be a stage where they die, or a predator will invade, or they'll get a disease.
Right.
Right.
But out of all the creatures on Earth, they're the only ones that have immortality. So they don't know how some of them could be, centuries old that
Right.
live in the
I hope
water.
to someday reach sexual maturity.
Yeah, and then revert back to.
And then revert back to my
Yeah.
my prepubescent form.
I sometimes.
Now, I wonder if they do they like actually shrink back to like?
Yeah, they changed form back into
Huh.
a smaller. They have about 4 tentacles in their youth, and then when they get big, they end up being pretty big, and they
Yeah.
end up with about 90 to 100
Wow.
tentacles.
And there are some that can be
Yeah.
like,
Miles.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if miles, but
Yeah.
feels like miles, man.
Well, another thing is that they're basically clones.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
single
right.
one of them. So each time they, fall apart and come back
Right.
together, it's just the same jellyfish.
It's like
but they.
it's like if a worm were to get
It's just
cut,
cut
only
off.
cut in half
Yeah.
every time it was killed, and,
Right.
and half of it was living every time.
huh? Nature's so crazy.
Yeah, what I saw too is those crazy octopus that can like change their texture and
Yeah.
shape and like
You want to talk about alien, man? That's octopus would be.
squeeze through the
Yeah.
whole size of a
How is
quarter.
that
like,
from Earth?
Yeah, really. I think
Those
they've
things are crazy.
seen that some of those creatures are so smart
Yeah.
that they can do complex puzzles and things like that when they teach them in when they're in the habitat, and they think that there's not really many creatures related to them in the animal kingdom, so they think they're pretty odd to be so intelligent and so unique
Well,
in the animal world.
People that
like,
keep them for pets have a really hard time keeping them in their cages or their tanks.
Yeah,
whatever
they love to squeeze out and.
Well, they're escape artists. That's what they do.
And they can fit through anything.
And and they'll try and try and try until they get it.
They don't obey the laws of physics
at all.
They turn into a little, like they could come through a little toothpaste tube.
Right.
And they're
non-Newtonian fluid.
Exactly. Well, jellyfish are mostly water. Like, of course, our bodies are like 80% or whatever, but they're more like 95. So, like, that's why they're see-through, and you can only like see their stomach basically.
I've poked jellyfish on the beach before.
Yeah, I remember as a kid
seeing them wash up.
Yeah, that's the only time I never saw one actually.
I've never seen one
in the
float.
water. But
well, yeah, I have.
Yeah,
at an aquarium. Yeah. In Boston.
I've never seen anyone stung by one. Have you?
No, I've never had to pee on anybody's foot.
Well, I can't say that I've never had to pee on anybody's foot, but it wasn't for jellyfish.
Okay, unrelated. Okay, so one last thing I was wondering, what's the best piece of advice you guys have? Like, do you have like a standard piece of advice?
I have one piece of advice that I got from my father. When I was growing up.
Oh, all right, let's hear it.
Whenever I'd leave the house to go out and go to a party or whatever, he'd always tell me to keep it in my sneaker. Be careful, keep it in your sneaker.
Not bad.
Good advice.
You need a ride home, call me.
I don't take advice.
Yeah.
I don't give advice, and I don't take advice. So.
Wow. Well, that's both admirable and pig-headed of you.
Yeah, it's one of my major tenets.
Some advice I noticed the other day when I was looking through the vast world of the internet was the Dwayne Johnson rule. Have you guys heard of this?
No,
I have not.
It's
man's prolific though.
Yeah,
Dwayne
the Rock Johnson, huge dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah, me too.
Good looking fella.
He's got that new show,
The Titan Games.
That's right. Well, the Dwayne Johnson rule is now that when you see a woman out in public, out in the workplace, out in your daily life, unless you know this person, you should imagine that you're talking to Dwayne Johnson when you're talking to them. So this will avoid any weird, inappropriate things that you could say. So it's maybe something good to keep in mind if you're out there at work and you're thinking about saying something.
Although I can't promise I wouldn't be inappropriate when talking to Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I guess it depends on how well you know Dwayne Johnson.
Don't be like giving people the rock bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Did you know Dwayne Johnson was the second person in the world really to know about Osama bin Laden?
Really?
Yeah, he put it out. He was the second person to announce it in the world because apparently the SEAL team told Dwayne when they did it.
He's got the hookup.
Yeah, either that or he just smelled it.
He does have a good sniffer.
Yeah, if you smell what the Rock is cooking.
He smelled something cooking. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Something to keep in mind. I guess maybe even for men,
you might
women,
definitely be a lot more polite to people.
Yeah, maybe just advice in general. Talk to everybody like you don't want to.
Hello, Mr. Johnson. How are you today?
Offend them too badly. Yeah.
You don't want a severe beating.
Yeah. Another one I heard. This is my go-to advice. Actually, that was something I was reading. But my go-to advice is: a falling knife has no handle. Which is good to remember when the knife goes to fall off the countertop. Never try to
working with a lot of knives. That is very
you guys
key.
Are with knives, yeah.
There's been many a times that I've instinctively gone to catch it.
Yeah, or the foot stall.
Yeah. Kick it.
Kick it. Yeah.
It's kind of instinct. It's hard to break that instinct because you do it with you try to catch or kick everything else.
Right.
And then, but when it's a knife, you have to make yourself just drop everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's hard to do.
Imagine you do the same thing with an axe or any other cutting implement.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. A sword.
Yeah.
No.
No, I wouldn't do it with a sword. I'd catch the sword.
All right.
All depends on if it's made out of Valerian steel or not.
Wow, 2 Game of Thrones references in one episode.
Winter is coming. Let's make it 3.
Yeah.
Yikes.
All right, so that's it for that. We just wanted to make sure that before we finish to say a few thank yous to everybody who has continued to show us support. If you're listening again, we really appreciate it. And if it's for the first time, we hope you come back again and enjoy what we got for you. Thanks a lot tonight to Angel.
Yeah.
Hooking us up with some wood because, man, it was...
She's the best.
Yeah, it was cold.
4 below.
Cold night out.
4 below. It's dropped down now to, I don't know, negative 30 probably.
Wouldn't have stayed warm without it.
Also, thanks a lot to everybody who has subscribed, and if you haven't yet, subscribe now.
Thank you.
Yeah, hit that button.
Like, comment, share.
Yeah, and definitely like and comment and things like that. We want to hear more from the people who listen, so please check us out also. Yeah, a select few maybe. Check us out on Twitter at shed_the_world. Check us out on Facebook at the Shed Sessions Podcast, and right here on YouTube, you know. So look for us also soon, maybe on iTunes or some other podcasting apps too.
In a shed near you.
In a shed, yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. So all right, that's it for now. You guys got anything else?
Nothing.
I'm good.
Not a thing. All right. Well, thanks everyone for checking it out, and remember to be more curious. All right, later everybody.
Have a good night, day, evening.